What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench podcast network and channel. Giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. I'm talking about Shad, Kelvin Jermaine, Kobe Bryant Film Room, and Big Dog Sports TV. And for everyone who's tuning in, I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make this show the best that it can be. And actually, with your support, we have now earned the viewership of over 1,200 subscribers since really last summer. And we really appreciate it. Winning combination, that must mean we're doing something right. Now check it out. Basketball fans, and in particular, if you're a Laker fan who come across this, get used to the Lakers being at the bottom of this bracket for the foreseeable future. See, this isn't like after the Lakers won the championship in 2010, actually their second consecutive championship, or as they deemly call it, back-to-back champions, right? What happened that following year, the 2010-2011 season? The Lakers were vying for a three-peat. It's very hard to do. As Phil Jackson, the legendary Phil Jackson once said, it's very difficult to win a championship. It's virtually impossible to repeat as champions. And 2-1, it takes a miracle to win 3 straight. Okay. So the Lakers ended the season losing in the Western Conference semifinals to the Dallas Mavericks. And they beat the Lakers. Me being a Laker fan, we got beat. We got swept. I remember this series like it was yesterday because the Lakers still had a dominant starting five. Not a super team, but just the fact that they were back-to-back champions, right? But the problem with the Lakers that year was, even after signing free agents like Steve Blake, Matt Barnes, Theo Ratliff, we had the least productive second unit in the NBA entering the playoffs. And it showed in that playoff series versus Dallas. We got by the first round and beat the New Orleans Hornets in 6 games, 4 games to 2. I remember like it was yesterday. And we lost. And we lost fair and square. You're super disappointed, but hey, you tip your hat off to the team who beat you. And Dallas went on to win the championship that year. Now the following year, 2012, we lost in the conference semifinals. And that's when Andrew Bynum, who was wound up with that year being his final season with the Lakers before he was traded for Dwight Howard. He became an all-star for the first and only time in his career. And we lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder, the upstart Oklahoma City Thunder, in 5 games. That was a tough series. But we just didn't have enough. We didn't have enough talent to beat Oklahoma City. And plus, they were younger, and it was their time. But the Lakers were still going to the playoffs. And the following year, after trading for Dwight Howard and trading for Steve Nash, now as a Laker fan, you know, after watching the Lakers compete during the preseason, where during that time you had 8 preseason games, the Lakers didn't win 1 preseason game. After the first preseason game, I would say after the second preseason game, you can tell that their team was not championship level. But nonetheless, they still reached the playoffs, and Kobe Bryant sacrificed, in many ways, his career in making sure that the Lakers at least advanced to the playoffs, as he vowed to do so. But it cost him because he injured his and ruptured his Achilles because he's playing way too many minutes. 2 weeks leading up to that injury, he was playing darn near the whole game. And he was playing two-way basketball, offense and defense. So you knew something was going to happen. So I'm trying to set a backdrop for what I really want to talk about. The Lakers won 45 games that year, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go back to it. Let's go back. After we repeated in 2010. Now let's take it back to when the Lakers acquired Paul Gasol. When the Lakers acquired Paul Gasol, they were 30-11 exactly midway during the season. 30-11. So they were playing great basketball. This was the year where Kobe Bryant eventually would, earn his only league MVP award, which he definitely deserved more than that, but that's another story. Derek Fisher returned back to the team after playing 3 years elsewhere, Golden State and Utah. Lamar Odom was a mainstay on the team, but the bench began to improve. Bynum began to improve as a player, averaging like 14 points, 10 assists before he injured his knee, his first major injury of his career. Jordan Foremour, Sasha Vujacic, Luke Walton, Norm Powell, Ronnie Turioff. They were known as the bench mob. So I'm trying to set a backdrop here. So after acquiring Paul Gasol, which only occurred after losing Bynum for the rest of the season, the Lakers were actually ahead of schedule and they advanced to the NBA Finals. They was not expected to reach the finals that season. And it just showed you the benefit of rebuilding your team step by step incrementally, rather than throwing all your chips in the middle of the table. Because after the Lakers traded Shaquille O'Neal to the Miami Heat that first year without Shaq, you knew the team was going to take a hit, right? But while doing so, the Lakers was slowly coming up with a plan to rebuild itself to reach championship level with Kobe Bryant leading the way. So in 2009, we won 57 games in 2008 and reaching the NBA Finals, losing to Boston in 6 games, which set the stage for one of the most magical championship runs in Laker history. In 2009, where they won 65 games and defeated the Orlando Magic. Then, going to the next season, the Lakers acquired Ron Artest, losing Trevor Ariza to free agency. And they finished with a record of 57-25. And won back-to-back championships by defeating the Boston Celtics in 7 games. So those 3 seasons from 08-09, the team won 57 games, 65 games, 57 games. And even the season where we did not achieve the three-peat, they won 57 games. And when they lost to OKC in 2012 in the second round, this was during the lockout year, the Lakers won like 42, 43 games. Okay. And then making the playoffs in 2013, after Kobe Bryant injured his Achilles, they did lose in the first round to San Antonio in 4 games. But if Kobe Bryant had been healthy, that would not have happened. Not saying they would have won a championship, but they would not have been swept in the first round. Right? So what I just painted is the normal evolution of a team during a major run. Where even after winning your last championship during that run, you don't fall off the map precipitously. This is what I'm trying to set the comparison between what happened then and what's taking place now. Okay. So when the Lakers so-called won in 2020, well, first of all, the year before, after signing that guy to the team in 2019, the prognosticators, the experts, the pundits, fans, in conjunction, concluded that the only team deemed to be a major threat to the Lakers with LeBron on the team for his first season were the back-to-back defending champion Golden State Warriors. So what I'm saying is they was expected because of the notion or the belief or the narrative that guy, everybody knew who I'm talking about, can lead any team to the promised land no matter the roster. That they were expected to reach the Western Conference Finals. And they didn't even reach the playoffs. This is before the play-in was instituted. The play-in was instituted the year after the bubble. They finished with a record of 37-45, which was only 2 games more than what the real young core-driven Lakers achieved in 2018 and winning 35 games, which was a 9-10 game improvement from the previous season. Okay, so you begin the process with that guy leading the charge to extinguish, let go, trade away the deepest young core in the NBA. You start to pick at it player by player. You bring in a franchise player in Anthony Davis. But the problem was, in doing so, and the manner in which they pushed to acquire AD for that guy, the Los Angeles Lakers had to mortgage their future to acquire him that particular offseason when he was set to become a free agent a year after the fact. Now, when the Lakers acquired Shaquille O'Neal, they signed him outright as a free agent. And the only players that they moved on from to create enough cap space to sign him were players that they gave opportunity to show who they were the previous 2-3 seasons that didn't work out. When they signed Shaquille O'Neal, they didn't mortgage any of their top future players. That includes Eddie Jones. That includes Nick Van Exel. Or even the younger veterans of the team, such as Eldon Campbell. Right? And then same offseason, as rookies, the Lakers brought in Kobe Bean Bryant and Derek Fisher. You see the difference? When the Lakers acquired Shaquille O'Neal, they already reached playoff level status. So signing Shaquille O'Neal did not set the franchise back. It helped solidify their future moving forward. But during the same time, when they signed Shaquille O'Neal as a free agent, they drafted players as well. Kobe Bean, Derek Fisher. And then 2 years down the road, they brought in some key complementary players, I should say. Rick Fox, who they signed as a free agent. and Robert Horry. Those were the building blocks for what would eventually be the Lakers' new championship run that started in the early 2000s. You see the process? It was an organized effort based on what was needed from after reevaluating the team from the previous year. Not overhauling your roster 3 times in 18 months. Right? So, when Kobe Bryant started his career as a rookie, he learned from the tutelage of Eddie Jones, who was an all-star, 2-time all-star player in his own right. Now, Kobe had more talent, but he still had to earn that 2-guard position. And when he showed that he was ready to take on that role, that's when they moved on from Eddie Jones. But Eddie Jones is still viewed as a Laker to this day. Right? There was no real animosity about the situation. Eddie Jones had no problem with the realization that Kobe Bryant proved to be the better player. That's how you do square business. Okay. So I'm setting the stage for how the Lakers built their success in the past versus what they've tried to do since they brought that guy to the team in 2018. Neither representation of those Lakers championship teams you ever saw a precipitous decline after they reached their peak. That's doing Showtime, right? Kobe and Shaq, Kobe and Powell. All 3 instances, you saw long-standing runs, right? And in the process, during those runs, they continue to draft players to try to keep moving forward for the future, even when they were on top. That's not what's been happening over these past 5.5 seasons. And what a lot of fans of this team need to understand is, when it comes to the history of this franchise, it never mortgaged away or its future or sold itself short to achieve victory. That's why the Lakers won the way they did. It's because they invested in their team. They invested in their future. So this notion that the Lakers have to justify what's been going on since 2018, this notion that the Lakers have poached players and relied on outside players to win, it's the furthest thing from the truth. And that's why these efforts of the past 3.5 seasons since that bubble has gone unfulfilled and not getting the results that the so-called experts have been projecting for this team. What's going on now is a direct antithesis of what made the Lakers great. And that's why they find themselves where they are right now. I wasn't planning on making this video as long as it's turned out to be, but hey, maybe it's meant to be so. So what I'm trying to say is, as of right now, the Lakers are in 11th place. Now, let's talk about the Utah Jazz for a minute, who the Lakers lost to last night in Utah. Utah has always been the tough place to play on the road. That's during the Showtime years, Kobe Shaq years, Kobe Powell years. They were always tough to play in Utah. Now, when the season started, Utah dealt with a rash of injuries. Lauri Markkanen was hurt. Walker Kessler was hurt, who didn't even play last night. Jordan Clarkson was missing games due to injury, and Colin Sexton. They're healthy now. They started John Collins, who's really a power forward, at center last night, and they still defeat the Lakers. Now, mind you, I know LeBron James wasn't playing, but it don't matter if he play or don't play. This team is not championship caliber, and it hasn't been since the bubble. And even then, the bubble is the bubble. You see what I'm saying? So when you get right down to it, since they've had this dude on the team, they have not won anything in any season where they played the standard 82 game schedule. Because the bubble season, they lost 10 games for that when the pandemic hit the mainland. They wound up playing 71 games that season, where the Lakers finished with a record of 52-19. But during the 82 game season with this dude associated with this franchise, they have not won anything. That's what it comes down to. That's the facts. That's the record. So Utah, healthy, won, and they've been winning. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. The hottest teams in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are tied for first place. And when people say that you can't build a winner through the draft, it's a misnomer, and fans shouldn't even be listening to that jibber jab. Because outside of a young Sage Gilgeous-Alexander, who they acquired in 2019 when the Clippers traded for Paul George, that team is built through the draft exclusively. And this is why I uphold the original young core the way I do. That's why the Lakers are in 11th place right now, because they gave up their real young talent. Okay, so Lauri Markkanen for Utah is a heck of a player. The dude is, when you watch him play, man, he's a power forward. He plays like a power forward, not a stretch forward. He plays like a power forward who can shoot the three. And he gives Anthony Davis problems every time they match up. And for the life of me, I never understood why the Chicago Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers didn't understand what they had with Markkanen. But Utah understands, and he's carrying on the tradition of all the great power forwards who represent their franchise, starting with Adrian Dantley, then Karl Malone, then Carlos Boozer, and now he's carrying that mantle. Colin Sexton, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Jordan Clarkson, a real Laker, an original Laker, had 21 points. What I love about Jordan Clarkson is his attitude is, I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to shoot it. Even if I miss it, I'm going to shoot it, because you're putting pressure on the guy who's guarding you. Constant pressure. They can't let up. John Collins, 19 points, 13 rebounds. Utah has a nice team, and that's why they've overtaken the Lakers in the standings. They got a real team out there. And after they traded away, they cornerstone players after Donovan Mitchell, Gobert, and Bogdanovic trio reached their peak in 2021, Utah didn't fall off, and they realized they didn't have to tank to be competitive. So they acquired a ton of draft picks to solidify their future with, and then brought in unsung young talent such as Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton. And boom, here they are, over 500. And as long as they win a majority of their home games, see, what I'm trying to indicate is the Western Conference is deeper than last year, because teams have improved. And as long as those teams win a majority of those home games, you're not really going to have a game on the schedule on the road where you can go in and say, yeah, you're going to win some games here and there because it's the NBA. But just with the mindset of we're going to win the majority of these road games at home, forget about it. You see? So the longer the season progresses, the more you progress further to the remaining games for the regular season, and the longer that you remain at the bottom of the standings, chances are you're not going to make it. Because those teams have momentum because they have stayed the course and developed their young players. The only franchise in the league and in the Western Conference who didn't do that is the team that's in 11th place right now. Now check this out. After all these moves the Lakers have made since the summer of 2022, after they failed to make the play-in and finishing with a 33-49 record, when they had the Hall of Fame squad, the top 75 squad, Melo, Westbrook, Howard, right? DeAndre Jordan, Rondo, Bradley, right? Kendrick Nunn. The Lakers have overhauled their roster 3 times. Really, in the span of 1 calendar year, they've overhauled their roster 3 times. Their record after 40 games this year is the same record that they had after 40 games last season, 19-21. So after all the moves they made, and all the praise that they got for those moves, especially after this offseason, bringing in Cam Reddish, bringing in Jackson Hayes, bringing in Christian Wood, bringing in Gabe Vincent, re-signing, Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura and whatnot, and D'Angelo Russell. Now, the pundits are saying every Laker is expendable in the trade starting, 2 days from now? Now, what happened over the course of the past 5 months? We're back in August, late August, after they signed Christian Wood. This was actually before they signed Christian Wood. They said the Lakers had the best offseason of any team in the NBA as far as free agency went. And they over-exaggerate those moves, try to convince the fans that the Lakers was on the right course because the Lakers now have a young core, which that was in vogue after it was shunned 5 years ago when the whole purge started of getting rid of the real young core. Oh man, they got a young core now. They got continuity. It's about depth. It's not about being top heavy. So you go back to full circle, and you're right there where you were last year. Now they're talking about the Lakers need a third star. So scrap all of that. Basically what they're saying. So they're continuously missing the mark. And the problem is they allow a guy to come in here and purge the entire roster in one continuous swoop in record time, not to mention the draft picks that have been included to facilitate these so-called blockbuster trades around the clock. They've been depleted of asset, capital, dividends, IRAs, CDs, draft picks galore that will take this roster and take this franchise and turn it into a distant memory. That's where we're headed after all this is over. So I asked the fans, is all this worth it? I say it isn't, because as of right now, they're exactly where they were this year than they was last year. Nothing has changed. So until next time, this is JB for BTB, Behind the Bench.